Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another video. This time we have something a little bit different. We're going for an interview this time. We have a very special guest with the president and CEO of Formula KFX, Phil Pegler.
Hi, thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh yeah, it should be amazing. I can't wait to ask you some of these questions, especially because we got some from the from social media as well. Some really good questions from social media. I was struggling to come up with some good ones yesterday. I always feel like I can always ask the super basic ones, but I can't ever get into the nitty gritty. But they asked some pretty good ones.
Cool.
So I
There
guess we'll kind of start it off, I guess, more general. So what's your background in racing?
you are. It's I have a different background to most people. I am honestly purely a racing enthusiast. I think I was about 18 years old, 19 years old. I was studying in London at school, and I lived with a family who the dad in the family was a part owner in a Formula 3 team. And I was like, what's that? And, you know, no idea. And he told me a little bit, and then I kind of let it go. And then one evening I came into the kitchen and he was watching the highlights of the Formula One Grand Prix. And he's like, "Oh, come and look at the Formula One." I was like, "Oh, what's that?" Here I'm at 19, 18, 19. What's that? And so it was a 1993 Japanese Grand Prix. And it was with Senna and Prost and Hill and Hakkinen up at the front. And Prost was about to seal his fourth championship. And I just fell in love with it immediately. I was like, this is, how have I missed this? Like what have I been doing my whole life? And then I found out that the husband of a work colleague of my mother's worked for Williams, and he worked on the test team. And
Wow.
that had been like at arm's reach my entire life as well. And I didn't know about that. And so, time went on a little bit, and sadly the Senna accident happened. But post that, Alan, my friend at Williams, let me come in and see the factory. And then I went to the British Grand Prix with him when Hill won, the famous Schumacher black flag
Yeah,
Grand
yeah.
Prix. Hill won his home Grand Prix. And yeah, after that, it was, couldn't get enough of it. Every day I had to look, we had a thing on the TV called the CFAX, which is before the internet. It's like telex, and it's a bit like, DOS based news. You could scroll through with a remote control. And I
Okay.
was going to the sport, like BBC Sport, Formula One, and be a couple of paragraphs about so and so with a contract, or none of this trivial news we get now, but like really good news you were trying to find out. So, no, honestly, I really just fell in love with the sport. I moved to the US in '95, right into the heart of NASCAR country. I went
Yep.
to Darlington Raceway to a Busch Series race as it was, and Terra Labonte won. And I then realized that Rick Hendrick was the owner of Terra Labonte's car, and I'd bought a car at Rick Hendrick's car dealership. And it just all started, it just all started like getting myself involved more and more. I was a big Earnhardt fan. Sadly, I was at the Daytona 500 when Dale Earnhardt lost his life. That was a
Oh,
pretty,
wow.
pretty somber. I remember really crying my eyes out in the car all the way from Daytona to Savannah, basically
Yeah.
driving home. That was really shocking for me. I think it was the first time I'd come face to face with what the dark side of motorsports.
Yeah.
But then later I started sim racing with the Papyrus platform. I
Oh,
didn't have the means to go racing myself, and I was getting into my 30s at that point, and so I really was, I had no career. It was not going to happen as a career. So yeah, I started sim racing, and then when iRacing developed, I became a beta tester for iRacing's early products before it was launched. So that's really how I got into the physical part. And then I started karting, and Bobby Wilson, who was working with us last year, was the first guy that coached me karting. And so that's how I knew Bobby. And I started doing karting, and then that took me to back to the UK and Club 100, which is the sister company of our team, or the pair. I suppose we're an offspring of that, although we don't really have any direct business tie. we're basically that same thing. Here I started racing with
Yeah.
Club 100 and then finally came out to California. So yeah, it's been a gradual step by step. And, so far as racing myself, it's been karting. I'm a good amateur racer.
Nice.
But I love the sport. That's
Yeah.
that's really it. And really every day I can't imagine with a life without motorsport.
Yeah. No, I feel you there. To be honest, for me, there was a time where when I was a lot younger, I used to watch NASCAR all the time with my pawpaw and stuff whenever it was on TV and everything. And I remember I didn't really keep track of who was driving the cars or really the only thing I focused on was that there was an M&M's car out on track, and I know I loved candy, so that's all I cared about.
Right.
And so I still have a couple I have a couple Kyle Busch like M&M die casts up on like one of my shelves. But and then I fell out of love with it for a bit just because I don't know what happened, but then once I started getting a little bit older and like kind of seeing the engineering and like the physics behind it, I'm like, holy crap, these machines are incredible to watch go out on track. And then, jumping behind a wheel, you can't stop once you're behind it.
I know. Talk, talk about the M&M's car. The original M&M's car was Elliott Sadler, Robert Yates Ford.
Oh,
And I
okay.
remember in the 2003 at Talladega, I was at the fall race, and that was the first time I'd seen a car flip. And that car flipped.
Oh my
And to
gosh.
see a 3,600 pound car at 200 miles an hour take to the air like a feather was something to remember. I mean, it was incredible, actually. So
Yeah.
that's one of my early memories of the M&M's car, the
Oh,
earlier M&M's car. Yeah, but yeah, it is. The technology is amazing, and I mean, you
yeah.
talk about that and look at Formula One as well. I mean, it's you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about it for hours, but that's
There
not
are
the point
no
here.
there are no words yet you could say and talk forever about it.
Yeah, true. So I guess into the next thing. So, kind of talking about, I guess, Club 100 and everything. So, how did you build Formula KFX, and what's your goal with this league?
Well, having loved racing and then experienced karting, first as an owner driver with a Rotax kart, and then I went to race with Club 100, which at the time were using TKM air-cooled direct drive karts. Um, I just loved this whole concept about arrive and drive, and so many people don't understand that it really is serious championship kart racing. You think arrive and drive. I think they think it's like going to the fun park, and just go have a bash around and then, that's it. And I think when you like yourself, you've been part of our series and are our reigning lightweight champion now. Um, you only really realize what it is when you get in there. So, having experienced Club 100, I thought this is just the ticket. I mean, if more people could realize what this was and the simplicity as a customer or as a driver, there'd be so many people coming into motorsports to experience it. And yeah, it can go on and on again like that. So I loved that. I loved the thought that I could bring this to the US perhaps or something similar and create opportunities. I mean, that's one of the
Yeah.
great things about the US, right? I mean, if you live in this country and you are a good citizen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and you abide by all the kind of the rules of the country, how it's meant to be,
Yeah.
you can create a great life for yourself, right? And it is a land of opportunity. And I truly,
Mhm.
truly believe that. It's one of the few places you can go and have any life you want if you're willing to work hard enough for
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think so many people want to race. There's so many talented people that just don't have 2 cents to put together to get out and show it. This is a great product for that. It's also great for, like we talked about, even uh, established racers who perhaps don't have logistically the means to transport, maintain, they don't have the time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but they still want to race. And you can go out and know that everybody on the grid is in the same thing.
Yeah.
The guy next to you or on the row in front of you hasn't spent $25,000 on his engine. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
so I love that. that took a whole other thing out of the picture. And then when I found out about Rotax Racing Club and what they wanted to do, they saw what Club 100 were doing. Club 100 switched from TKM to Rotax. They then began juniors and later added cadets. And Rotax saw that and wanted to come and watch their races. Um, and they were just blown away by it. They were like, "How did we, not think about this? Can we want to take this international?" And I think Club 100 at first were like, "Well, that's great, but no." We've got our hands full with. They have the world's largest kart club is Club
Yeah.
100 Racing, and it's in the UK. I think over 2,500 members, from what I realize, I
Wow.
think I
Yeah.
understand,
I can't
possibly
imagine
more.
logistically taking that bigger.
Well, they have, several established sprint championships. They did have endurance championships. They have a British Universities kart championship. And then they have other things that they promote. A while ago, they were the promoters of Easy Kart in the UK. They're no longer
Hmm.
doing that, but they were the promoters of Easy Kart for a number of years. And they're great crew. John Viger, who is the owner of Club 100, is fully involved after 35 years. He's still there every day. It's his
Wow.
baby, really. He's got an amazing workforce of people. It's not a massive workforce, but they're so loyal. They've been there, 20 plus years, everybody. And
Yeah.
then the young guys are usually related to somebody who's been there or has raced there. They've got grandkids of racers coming in now to race in cadets. It's an amazing thing, and they've done so much for motorsport. So anyway, looking at that, I thought, oh, that would be so good. But then John Viger actually called me and said, "Phil, I know you want to do something in the US. So you've been looking at doing Easy Kart or promoting a series. Why don't you do what I'm doing? Rotax are about to do this Rotax Racing Club, and why don't you think about it?" And so I went over to Sarno to meet with Rotax and John Viger. I went to the UK to study their events from the operations side, because it's changed quite a lot since I was racing in the
Yes.
last 12 years. And I just thought, this is a no-brainer. I love this. This is what I want to do, spend the rest of my working life doing.
Hmm.
Let's do it. And so I pitched my case to Rotax. They liked it, what I had in mind, and then we got going. My wife and I made a big investment in the series to start it, and Bobby come out to prepare and get everything rolling, which has been great. But now we've had our pilot season, and we're poised to start our first proper year. So yeah, lots of exciting things to come.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
so that's the short version.
yeah. I mean, I remember the when I was first getting into karting after doing a little bit of indoor stuff, and I remember just watching YouTube videos after YouTube video of Club 100 and everything. I'm like, man, where's this league at? And then seeing it's all across the ocean, and I mean, I was always hoping we'd get something like this here one day. And as soon as I saw it come across my Instagram feed, I went, I have to race it. I'm gonna find some way, somehow, I'm going to race this. And yeah, at least from me, like, thank you for bringing this to the US and everything, because it has been it has been incredible to run. It has been so much fun.
I'm so glad to hear that. And I've by and large had really positive feedback. I think people really enjoy it. There seems to be, I'm all over the place at the race meeting, but it seems to be such a nice atmosphere between all the drivers even the younger ones and their families.
Mhm.
Uh, and I feel really lucky about that. It's like a great support for each other and for the series, and I think people genuinely do love it. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that the word will spread, and I'd love to fill these grids up. I really would. Nothing would make me happier, because that would allow us to grow or to have more things to provide for the drivers. And one day perhaps I'd like to have this in another region as well,
Yeah.
which is more jobs for people. And it's, it's more jobs, it's more opportunities. And I mean, if eventually we could have it in different places around the country, that's 5 or 6 times what we're running in California. We could
Yeah.
then end up with a national championship, which would probably be ultimately the qualifier to go to the international final. But it would be something where we're really bringing people in all over the country. That would make me really happy.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess on that bit, I do have a question about the international finals
Yeah.
since you mentioned it. So I guess what are your hopes and expectations about the first, like, RRC International Championship? I mean,
I first of all, I think the concept is excellent. I really do. I think, I don't think, you'll have massive participation from all of those countries. I think there are 7 or 8 countries that are now established as Rotax Racing Club qualifying championships. I'm sure Club 100, because they're actually going to be the promoters of this international final as well. Club 100 will probably have the largest amount of participation, participants.
yeah.
I would love it. I've been allocated 5 tickets for each class, so 15 tickets.
Okay.
I would be thrilled to have 15 drivers go. I don't know that we will, but I will. I would love that. Perhaps people can find sponsors, to go. But so far as the event, I just think Rotax are providing this platform, which ultimately, I suppose, it's a form of a world championship. And I know maybe the world's most established or famous or professional kart racers are not all involved in this. Perhaps a couple will be, but it's still effectively a world championship. If you've
Yeah.
got 7 different countries participating and all the equipment is equal again, like you have in all these series, on neutral territory, on a track that no one's been to, with this series, arguably it's even better than an owner-driver world championship,
Yeah.
because so many of those sort of variables have been taken out of it.
Yeah. No, I mean,
So I think if whoever wins it will have a sense that they've really achieved something, and it's on merit. And this is a thing about driver merit. It's not on equipment, or budget. It's merit based. And I hope it'll grow, and it'll, be in different countries around the world over the years. And yeah, it's again about opportunities, and that's Rotax's thing. And I am Alex Wandel at Rotax, and I've talked a lot about it's about giving people the motorsport experience in the most fair and transparent and professional way,
yeah.
an affordable level. And that's what this is. I mean, I guess you could just in a nutshell, if somebody pays to race with us this year and they pay 55.95, I think that's the cost of 10 rounds, and they win the championship, they're effectively sitting on the starting grid of the international final for less than $6,000. How can anybody ever get to a world championship event? It would cost 4 times that to go to a championship event,
Yeah.
right? Or more. So yeah, I think it's just my expectation and my hope from it is that whoever wins it feels like they've really achieved it on merit, and it sends a really good message out.
So these are a couple of the questions that we got from the social media. So if someone is new to karting, how would you explain Formula KFX to them?
Formula KFX is, as a company, is a promoting body for arrive and drive championship kart racing. And we have a number of championships. We have a sprint championships, which is part of the Rotax Racing Club. And then an endurance championship is for teams. And that's not a Rotax Racing Club championship. It's a Formula KFX's own series. So I suppose you could look at it like Rotax Racing Club it was like the sponsor name on the series. They're all the same karts, but it's just the series themselves are designated for different things. So the sprint championships are the Rotax Racing Club championships, and the endurance ones are our in-house
Okay.
series. Um, it's karting. It is traditional karting with a slightly more robust kart chassis and bodywork, and the engine is a mid-range perform in terms of its output and performance two-stroke engine, water-cooled two-stroke engine by Rotax. It's the junior Rotax engine.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's sort of physically, technically what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also, it's perfect for entry level to learn. It's also great for, like we've said, established racers if they want to keep their skills sharp, or have extra track time, or want a home to race.
Okay.
Mhm.
So then I kind of have like, I guess a little bit of a two-parter. But
Yeah.
so what advice would you have for parents that have kids interested, or even if, you're just getting into the sport, as, a teen or an adult now and you're interested in racing, but you don't have any experience, where should they begin?
Well, if they're coming to us new, I think let's start with an adult, like an adult, and
Okay.
let's say yourself, for example, you'd be a senior adult age, 16 and over. And so, they could call and ask me about, where do I go? What do you do? What is all this about? I'll explain to them, what karting is, and how we go to different tracks to race. And these are effectively their races, which accumulate toward a championship. Although that is not necessarily what everybody does. Some people want to pick a handful of events. Some people just want to come and try it. So I, give them the picture of what we do, and then say, if you're interested, you can come and test a kart, which means you come to the track on a test day or on one of our race days and register for a test session. And we will talk to you about the kart. We'll give you a safety briefing. We'll show you how the kart works. And then you'll have the opportunity to go out on a track and drive the kart for yourself and feel your way with it. And learn to understand the machinery and things like that, and learn some very basics about racing in a test session. You can come in and out and ask as many questions as you want, etc., and then see how you feel about it, if it's something you like or perhaps you don't like. And after that, we can, see about what you'd like to do. Maybe you'd like to do a little more testing until you become really comfortable. And I mean, I think you never do enough testing, but I think, ultimately, once you're comfortable with a kart and you want to do it, the best thing to do is get in a race.
Yeah.
Even if you start at the back and you're just trying to hang on at the beginning, it doesn't matter. You're just getting track time. Yeah, I think that's for a senior. For a junior, I think the karts are the same. So there are a few things to consider. The age, it's supposed to be 13 to 18 for juniors. However, testing can be 12 or year of 12th birthday, so 11, year of 12th birthday.
Okay.
And if they fit in the kart, it's got to be 4 feet 11. That's the cutoff point
Okay.
to be in the kart safely. And the same thing, they have a test session. They go out on the track in much the same way. It's $170 to do a test session. It's, in the big picture, it's a very small amount of money to try it. And even two sessions, $340 is a lot less money than spending, money in a wrong way or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think, as far as racing, the same thing as the seniors. If they want to pursue it, we go ahead and get them signed up for a race. It's like I said earlier, you've got this assurance that everybody's in the same thing. So, it's going to be about the driver's ability is going to be what, the result is.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to see very, very quickly the initial abilities. And then, some of the other things come through over time. You've got to be patient, and it doesn't happen overnight. Had a couple of kids this last year, actually. They tested, they were, never raced before, but they wanted to. So they've got in a kart and tested and spinning out and all over the place and trying to get a feel for it. And you wonder, oh, they're 5 or 6 seconds a lap slower. That's really slow. It's not really actually. And then all of a sudden it's 3 seconds a lap, and then it's under 2 seconds. It's like running a race. When you get near the front, it's a lot harder to pass people. So
Yeah.
it's those finer details take a long, long time. And sometimes, you don't think it's getting any better, and then all of a sudden it just clicks.
Mhm.
Um, you've got to be patient with these things. It doesn't happen overnight. And yeah, I think with parents, it's just, be patient, allow them to learn. We can talk about Formula KFX Academy in a little while if you like, but that's going to be part of that is educating parents on how to appropriately support your child in the sport, not as individuals at home. I mean, that's not our business, but when it comes to the sport and what the majority need, it's not always the same as every other activity.
Yeah.
And every kid is different as well. So, they really are alone doing this. So, you can't get in the cart with them and hold their hand. They're doing it themselves. So, they all have individual needs. Anyway, that's sort of
Yeah.
digressing. But yeah, I think it's a step-by-step process to get into it, but it's very simple. All they need to bring is a driver's suit, a helmet, some gloves, some shoes, and a neck brace.
Yeah. You guys make it easy. You guys make it easy to jump in.
We
But
try.
yeah. No, I think I mean I think that's important to stress, at least for, well, for everybody getting into the sport, is that, yeah, it's going to take some time and effort and patience and everything. But I also think one of just sports in general, but I feel like in particular racing too, because when you're in control of the cart, it is just you. It's a very like single sport. It's kind of similar, I guess, to more like running and track and stuff, where it's mostly just you. But it teaches you, that self-discipline and everything, and how to control and regulate your own emotions when you're out on track with people, but then also how to stay focused, keeping yourself, motivated as well is something that's always difficult. But I feel like those are really good lessons that karting always teaches. And I feel like a lot of people, I guess, aren't, I guess, prepared that that's exactly what's going to happen coming in, because I mean, karting's such a completely different sport compared to everything else. Racing as a whole is. And so, it takes some getting used to on like how it operates compared to everything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I I would say at the beginning of the year, especially, but when people are out on track, they have to look after each other. I know you want to beat everybody, but you've got to look after each other. And it's this, in the safety briefings, especially with the sprint racing, I tell them, when people are coming to pass you and they're there, you you have to, yes, you protect your position. Yes, you keep it fair. Yes, you keep it clean. You don't slam the door on people and take all their options away in the wrong way. You have
Mhm.
to leave. If somebody's on your outside, you don't run them off the track. You have to leave people with the option to back out of something.
Yeah,
You don't let them put themselves in there and then leave them where they can't get out of what they're doing. Um, I mean, and of course, when you have a lot of experience, so much of that is instinctive. Um, but also when you're dealing with instinct, people's true personalities come out as well. So,
true, true. Well, I mean,
yeah, it's about looking after each other. We don't want accidents ever, but we certainly don't want them created by stupidity.
mhm. No,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think from the racing this year, it has been. I mean, I don't. At least from my class of racing, there really hasn't been any of that. Even, when it came down to the points battle at the very last race, and me, Caden, and Sean were all fighting each other. It was still clean. I mean, it was hard racing, but there was no malice or ill intention or anything. It was if somebody won, it was off of just the pure racing alone. It wasn't anything outside of that. And so,
Right, and I remember on the grid, I mean, I was telling you guys, wasn't I, before you went out? Now listen, it's been this, that, and the other, and I was thinking at the same time, I'm thinking, Phil, you really probably don't need to tell these people this. They know, and they're all good guys and decent guys. But I have to.
mhm.
I have to say that to
Yeah,
people to make sure it's because it does vanish sometimes.
yeah. I mean,
But
it
yeah,
is
it
easy
was,
to
and I
ignore
was
that.
really proud, and.
Yeah.
Oh, of course it is. I'm going to do it no matter what. Down in that corner, I'm going to take it three wide, and they don't stand a chance. Yeah. And you'll reflect on the juniors as well. How great a lot of the racing was
Oh
with
my
those
God.
juniors, with Tyler Tovers and Amboise Dulois.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. It was amazing.
Amboise, he had the upper hand, but they kept it so clean, and it
Yeah.
was really, really good. And a
It
number of
was,
races were actually. So
I
I'm
mean, it was,
excited to see where that goes.
yeah. It was always fun watching it out on track. I mean, that was I guess that's the fun thing about having a bunch of different classes racing is that when you're off the track, there's always something to watch and there's always something going on. It was awesome. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I guess as another question too. Would you recommend like indoor karting or like racing on the sims and stuff before trying Formula KFX, or is this league in your mind the ideal way to really enter the sport?
Well, I mean, in a perfect world, I would say just come and get in the karts, but that's not always possible. I mean, if we're talking about the sim, I mean, there are a couple of good platforms with kart sims now. They
Mhm.
more recently become much better. I tested a kart sim at SCUSA, I think it was in 2024. And I was shocked at how good it was, and had a bit of fun with the guys running. It was in the near the Burrell tent, but I had a bit of fun with the guys. They looked at me and they said, "Oh, you want to try it?" Now I sort of played it down like I'd never raced, and I was just a newbie, and I had a good look at what was going on. And later in the day, it was quiet, and I came back, and they said, "Oh, you come back? You want to race?" So I said, oh, all right, I'll try it. I got in there. I mean, they didn't know I'd done beta testing for iRacing or anything, but I got in this kart thing, and I was actually, I know you probably know you did this from sim racing. You have this expectation of what it's going to be like. And of course, when you race in a vehicle, you have your back, your whole torso, your seat, your butt, whatever. Jeff Burton always calls it your rearometer. You don't you don't have that in a sim, no matter how good the force feedback is. It's just not there. And so it's all sort of eye and hand-eye coordination and stimulation, and a little bit the wheel, but it's not body first. It's your wheel often is it's not in that, it's in the wrong order, actually, basically,
Yeah.
really. So I don't know if I'm pro sim before trying the kart, because I wouldn't want people's first, basically, it's called medically, it's called an engram, which is a neurological imprint, their first handprint on a white sheet of paper to be what it actually isn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and actually, I think for me, that was part of my problem initially when I started karting, was I'd driven a sim first. And I'd driven a stock car sim for 5 or 6 years, and it
Yeah.
evolved quite a good product. And I just started doing that beta testing in 2005 and six. And then I started karting properly in six. I had this sort of preconceived idea of what it was going to be like, and my reference was always the sim, and of course it was a different type of vehicle as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like driving a stock car on a sim and driving a Rotax or Perilla Leopard car on a track is like comparing riding an elephant to riding a Ducati.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing like. So
Yeah.
I would say no, actually, a long, very long-winded way of getting to your answer. No, I wouldn't do the sim first. I would just go and get in a kart.
Okay.
However, if it's not possible, you take the next best available thing. So you'd said about sim. There was something else
Oh,
you
I was
asked me.
saying, because also another option is like indoor karting or other like
Yeah, so
more
that I
local
would do
options.
that. I would go with that.
Okay.
Because even though it's not the same in terms of traction and weight distribution and
Yeah.
power band and all those things, and even track layout is always much more tighter and intimate in a indoor karting.
Hmm.
Um, it still is karting, and it's still the same reflex senses in terms of you feel the vehicle, you react, or you anticipate the steering the same. It's maybe not the same as you would do vehicularly with an asphalt racing kart, but you're still doing the same thing in terms of driving a vehicle. So I
Yeah.
would go with that. And I think K1, look, it's very different, but I think a company like K1 or any of these indoor karting are invaluable to giving people the motorsports experience. And it's no less a standard of racing to win a championship in a K1 indoor. People say, oh, it's just indoor. It's just no, it's motorsport. It's still racing. It's electric sports. It's not motorsports, but
Yeah.
it's an electric motor. So yes, maybe it is motorsport. All right. But you're still racing against other people in roughly similar equipment. I mean, I haven't raced them. I'm sure, like in every form of sport, there are variables in the
Mhm.
carts, but the intention is for them to be all the same. And yeah, I think the company it's worldwide. I think it's done an amazing service positively for motorsports, and it's great. That's great fun as well,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's great. So
And then
yeah, I think K1's a wonderful place to start. And yeah, I suppose what we do is the next step. If you're wanting to go down that motorsports avenue, gets you outside, gets you in a car. Yeah, it's the next step.
yeah. No,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great way to look at it, like jumping into it and stuff too.
Mm.
And then just to, I guess, kind of go more on that point as well, we're talking about the value of racing and stuff. I feel like there's just being in it for so long, there's a little bit of like this the stigma behind rental karting, where it's like it's not your own cart. And so because of that, some people think that the level of racing or the talent involved on the track is different, or most of the time, subpar compared to what's outdoors and more professional. And I feel like looking at these leagues with Formula KFX, same with K1 and all these big championships that are now going on. Same with like obviously Club 100's been around for a lot longer as well, and there's some amazing talents come out of that. It's awesome to see a lot of these leagues building up, bringing in more talent, and like putting that on the on a pedestal, showing that you know racers don't just come from one way. It's everybody takes a different path, and it's super interesting and awesome to see people take those alternative paths and really have some success with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the rental karting it's a sounds awful, doesn't it? Actually, you think like it's you sort of have the rental karting. It's almost like rental car. Go and get a rental car. I mean, it's always less than what we have at home, or for most of us, it's a lesser level, um, or it's just a rental car. We say, I really pride myself in our race shop, we have 21 karts. I look at that like we have a racing team with 21 drivers. That's how I look at it. And we have to provide top level prep. And this is where Bobby was absolutely fantastic. His attention to detail really set the standard really high for any of our new guys coming in to work with us. So between Club 100 and what and how Bobby's established things here, um, it's not, they're not just thrown together and you may get a good one, you may not. They're all guaranteed to be prepared really well, as if it was owner driver. That kind of love and attention's been put into the cars. Plus, you know, it's a proper championship, you know,
Yeah.
and when it comes to Rotax, I, as a customer, love the Rotax. That was my first kart engine 20 years ago. Um, I have a Rotax. I just got a new Rotax engine for my own kart, actually. Because you know, when I have a few moments, I like to go out on the track and race a bit. And I like to also, when we go to new tracks, I like to go and drive these tracks and really learn for myself, you know, different aspects of those tracks and circuits, so I'm better prepped for talking to the drivers and understanding the nature of the racing or what have you.
Yeah.
Uh, Plus, I love to drive, you know. So, um, but you know, for Rotax, I want to put on a really good look for them in this country. You know, I want to help them um, keep their brand image as good as it is. I love customers who are racing with us who perhaps wanted to go on to owning a car to go in with the Rotax product. I think it's fabulous. And same with our chassis. We have Birel, and I've known Ronnie for a long time, and I really believe in their products. I mean, I could have chosen Tony Kart or Sodi or CRG, and they're all fabulous, fabulous companies. But I love Ronnie and Birel, and that was my choice. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I guess on, I guess, the 25 season, now that it's fully wrapped up and everything,
Mm.
looking back, what do you what was your most rewarding thing to see over like the inaugural season?
Well, there are a few things. I'll put you on the spot here. So, um, and I'm include you in this, but I mean, I'll use you as an example. You're not local to where we were running the tracks. To me, I felt like that was a huge compliment about the series, that you came from Arizona by plane. Was it 5 times? Did you come to one of the test days as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you made 5 trips out here to Northern California to race in this series. And I mean, your track time was, you know, you had a test session. What was that, like an hour and a half or something, probably.
Yeah.
Uh, which is, you know, you think, oh, just an hour and a half. Actually, a lot happens in an hour and a half in
Yeah.
but you know, to me, that says a lot that you're willing to come. You felt compelled to come, that you felt the standard and the way it was run, right, was something you wanted to be a part of. And likewise, Caden came. We had Greg Tokix coming over from Denver for every race. We had people coming from Nashville, a couple from the East Coast. We had guys from Hawaii coming in, returning, coming back next year. We have Amboise, a junior champion from Washington State.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Southern California. Max Butler was, and his father were local, but they were, dad is involved in motorsports. They were racing. Um, the Felix family were coming from Texas. You know, it was, to me, I was like, wow, we've just started this as a pilot series this year. And these people are coming back and they've signed up for next year. And I thought, yeah, this is really cool. And then there's the guys that just love their motorsports who've said to me, you know, oh, I've done the KRS classes at Sonoma, which are great, by the way, the driving school at Sonoma Raceway. The guys put on at the kart track, fabulous instructors and really good program. Those guys have said, you know, where can we race after doing that? And there's not really been anything until this. And they've loved it. And they've come back and they've brought their friends. And so I think there's a multitude of things. To seeing it, what I had as a vision, taking a big leap of faith in it, seeing it come to fruition, seeing how how it's really made people happy, you know, awarding championship prizes, all of it. I think, to be honest, yeah, it makes me really happy. It was very motivating, and I just want to make sure, as many people as possible have that experience.
Yeah. So then I guess on that, do you think you accomplished what you wanted this with this first season?
By and large, yes. I think I would love to have been able to reach a few more juniors. But the other side to that is, we started in the middle of the racing season when people had already set out their plans for 2025. And so
Mhm.
to understand as well that when I brought this along and announced it in the early summer, it was any people that were coming in to do it, they either weren't doing anything at all, or it was something they were going to be doing as an extra to what they had already committed to.
Mhm.
And so, I think the real test will be this year to see how many people come this year and next year. I think it's still going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, I mean, there are 36 slots on the grid for each class. So that's 144,
Yeah. Wow.
you know?
Well, that'd be
So
exciting.
yeah, I'd like to see them fill up.
I mean, that would be pretty awesome to see, especially those couple races where we had an A and B group
Yes,
with
that's right.
seniors. That was
Yes.
awesome to see. I loved that so much.
Well, that's what it really should be, and I have seen this, I kid you not, where there's been as much as a D final.
Yeah. Yep.
I have seen it back to D. And I mean in big international events, it sometimes goes to G or H group. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, I'd love to see it get to a full B and full A and even, touching a C. I'd be happy. I mean, yes, it would mean I'd have to expand the weekend, but I could have the seniors, senior lights and juniors on one day, and then the senior heavies and endurance on next, or something like that. That would
Yeah.
be fine. Um, I'd love to get to that point. I'd be thrilled. And we got, the prospect of having cadets as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess with the future of this league, you've expanded to more tracks,
Yeah.
more races for the next calendar. What do the logistics look like behind all that? And then why expand to more like Southern California tracks? There's one in Nevada. What was the decision making behind that?
So, the model is the Club 100 Championship in the UK. And I mean, the UK as a whole is probably not too different to the size of California. I mean, a little bit, it's a little smaller, but England itself and the distance between tracks is sort of very similar to how the NorCal tracks are. 60, 70 miles between different places. Sometimes it's less than that. I mean, there are a few places in southeast England there probably you could draw a 50-mile radius circle around four tracks. But I think generally here we're willing to travel a little more. I I want the championship to feel like a traveling series that people can get. They're not just going down the road and racing Sonoma in four different configurations or five different configurations and directions. And it's great. The facility is great. And the characteristics of the tracks, three of the four have very different characteristics. And you flip the direction, it's a totally different track, as you know.
Yeah.
But I really felt like to give it a proper championship feel, we should be at different places. So that was something I wanted to replicate from the UK. Secondly, I wanted to bring it to people. So some people, maybe they live in Prairie City and they maybe could travel to Sonoma, but it's not really that far. But maybe it's not really, they're not sure. And that's great. They're all great tracks with different characteristics. So I want to bring the series to the different towns. It's a really good way to advertise and market the series. And you said about logistically, our workshop is here in Marina on the Monterey Peninsula. There's no track here.
Yeah.
So no matter where we go, it's the same process of getting the truck in, loading up, and going to the track in the same way, whether it's Sonoma, Davis, Dixon, Santa Maria, Prairie City, you name it. We were going to go to Reading. That was going to be very, very far to drive, probably a little further than LA, but I really wanted to do this series up there. But there are issues with the track with the city and the FAA.
Oh, I
So
see.
we didn't do it this time. We're going to go to Santa Maria twice instead, which is a
Okay.
great track. And then you said about SoCal. I this year's the 70th anniversary of karting. As you know, karting began in California with Art Ingalls, the father of karting, built the first kart 70 years ago. Adams Motorsports Park is a legacy or heritage racetrack in California and in karting. I really wanted to bring the series there. And so we're going to do that in July. We're going to have a night race on Saturday night at Adams Motorsports Park on the 25th of July. That'll be a different type of event. And I think there's a big market down there, the LA area, so it'll give them a chance to experience our series. And Button Willow is, another type of track. It's in that Bakersfield area as well, near the Kern County Raceway. So there are also races around that area to give them an opportunity to try the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm for one super excited. I mean, I love
Yeah.
trying out new tracks. Who doesn't?
Yeah, I think most championships go to different tracks, whether it's car racing or karting. So, and it's not set at a kart club
Mhm.
on a track. So, we can move around. That's the whole idea, really, is to give people a full motorsports experience.
Yeah. So I guess so. One last question to wrap it up.
Hmm.
I've seen some of this on your website, and I've been curious. So now that I have you here, I can ask you about it. So the academy that you guys are running with the academy days, what is that? How does that work? And just tell me a little bit about it.
So a lot of people have asked for driver coaching. And, with our series, because it's not owner driver, it's quite difficult to orchestrate and organize that, being far from a track. Um, and so we had these driver feedback sessions, but people really wanted more. And I also, in answer to your earlier question about juniors getting involved in the series
Yeah.
and seniors, I wanted to offer something a little more thorough, that wasn't just going to a track and just driving around with one driver and one driver coach, but to have people there together.
Yeah.
And so I decided we would create this Formula KFX Academy, and it's a 3-hour seminar session where the driver gets to go out on track and have instruction in a group. There'll be several together, and there'll be different aspects of driving a car and racing to do with racing lines, braking, turning points, all those elementary aspects. Then defending, passing, what have you, and lead follow sessions, and then possibly I'm not going to confirm this yet, but maybe something like a mock race at the end
Okay.
of the day,
Yeah.
of the session. It depends, because it's for juniors and seniors. So, you've got the weight disparity, which, probably just not have that as part of the academy. But it still gives the same experience. People to try all that out. While that's going on, there'll be a seminar for parents or guardians or whoever that is looking after the junior driver, to talk about some of the things you've asked me about supporting kids, a little bit more about the sport. For me, it's about, being aware of the pitfalls, where you can waste money, how it's so easy to spend money in motorsport
Very.
and very difficult to earn it.
Yeah.
I think Rick Hendrick said, the only way to earn $1 million in motorsports is to spend 5 million.
That's a good way to put it.
Right.
That's a good one.
Right. So, we're not at that, obviously, like that, but I want people to feel like they can come and they leave. The driver feels more secure and comfortable and knowledgeable, and the parent feels more reassured about what they're getting involved with, and they've got a place they can come and ask. That's another thing. Like, you ask one person, they give you one opinion. You ask another, they give you another. The third person, it's a bit similar to one. A fourth person's like nobody else. A fifth person reiterates what somebody else says. Then there's like, which kart engine should I get for my kit? And it's endless. And by the time
Yeah.
you like one engine works for one kart club and they don't even race it somewhere else, that's another nightmare.
Yep.
I'm just getting my daughter started in racing. She's 5 or just about to be 5. She's been down at Adams Motorsports Park twice in this winter holiday and I just thought, "Ah, have a go.
Yeah.
And she was really, really proficient for a little kid. And then she went back and did the intermediate level coaching class at a fantastic guy there. His name's Kokoa. He's one of the younger guys that does coaching for the kids that Troy Adams has mentored. She did the full track on a Tillotson kid kart. Really good. She did the racing line down. She's really followed the instructions. I mean, she's like, I got to do it, Daddy. When can I do it again?
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
that's probably going to be the birthday present this year is a kart.
That's
For a
oh,
5-year-old, I'm almost embarrassed. But she loves it.
that's
It's just
awesome.
about doing it slowly, carefully, the right way.
Okay. Yeah.
And if it comes to nothing, it comes to nothing. But at least she's had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, the KFX Academy is about educating and looking after people and steering them in the right direction.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see how that turns out, especially with this new season and stuff. So, where
Oh,
can
thanks.
people find you? Where
So,
would you
we've
direct
got
people to go?
our website, which is formulakfx.com. We're on Instagram at Formula KFX. We've got YouTube. I think it's at Formula KFX Official. TikTok
Awesome.
is Formula KFX Official. Our phone number, 831-285-0585.
You
Message,
go.
text, call, email, racing at formulakfx.com. It's endless.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, you can get hold of us, and we're here to answer your calls and anything we can do to help. People are very welcome to come by the workshop and visit. We got new staff starting tomorrow, actually,
Oh,
in
wow.
the race shop to coming to fully prep everything for the Art Ingles Memorial Race on the 1st of February. And we're going to have pre-season testing on that day as well. So
That's
that'll
right.
be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much confirmed. I'm going to get in touch with everybody and announce that we are 100% going to do that. We're going to offer some sessions in the morning, and then in the afternoon we're going to have this Art Ingles Memorial Race. So
Perfect.
yeah, really
Awesome.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sitting in with me today.
Thank you, and thank you for being a great ambassador for the series. And we're really proud to have you as our first champion of the lightweight senior class. I
Well,
see the
thank you.
trophies on the shelf there
Oh yeah.
behind
Oh
you.
yeah. It's right here. It's right here.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Yeah,
And
thanks so
I
much.
have other ones on a different shelf that are just out of frame.
Yeah,
But
I know you collected a lot of hardware last year, so
hey, it was fun.
you're going to do it again this year.
Absolutely. I think I've already signed up and
Yeah,
I've already have all my registration in, and then I have
yeah,
it
we got
signed
you.
up through the endurance and stuff too. But all right.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you
yeah.
so much.
No, yeah.
Great to
Thank you
see
as
you.
well.
Happy New Year to you and to everybody. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Bye, buddy. Thank you.